what if Snowflake had the ability to also run native software in its platform? And then what if that native platform could be in an app that could be installed on the client side? That brings us to the announcement that we had on the 2024 Snowflake Summit, where we basically announced the ability of a Snowflake-based app where we had a containerized service with our third-party applications and software brought into a native app, which can then run on the client's own Snowflake account.
Morten Lileng, Senior VP of Product at Merkle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Felipe. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm super excited to learn more about what you're doing at Merkle. I know a little bit, but we're going to share with everyone. So please, what do you do at Merkle and what does Merkle do?
Well, so I am, as you said, a Senior VP of Products, and my main focus area is within identity and identity resolution. I'm also the Chief Architect for Merkury, so all the products within the Merkury product suite.
So identity resolution is important for Merkle. What does Merkle do?
So Merkle is a large marketing agency. It's part of the Dentsu group, which is a global agency based out of Japan, 70,000 employees or so. And we are doing all kinds of things within marketing. And Merkury, which is the product brand within Merkle, is focused on identity resolution, data, platforms, the ability to reach out to the ecosystem within marketing. And yes, that's what we do.
Yes, and as such a large agency dealing with marketing, dealing with data, you've always needed to find solutions to deal with this much data.
That is absolutely true. This has been part of what we've always done since Merkury or Merkle started back in the late 80s. We're always focused on data and let data guide everything that we did within marketing or whatever else we wanted to do within the business of marketing. And we started very early with database marketing, with analytics. Gosh, I remember one of my first days at Merkle where I came into the Merkury or Merkle headquarters, and there was whiteboards all over with all kinds of formulas on the walls with statisticians that had been working out new and smart ways to reach customers in the marketing space.
Nice. How did you end up being powered by Snowflake?
Since databases have been such an important part of what we've been doing all of these years, it was one of those things that we were looking into new technologies, and this was back in, I think, 2018-ish that we started looking at Snowflake. And yeah, it was early on, and we really enjoyed talking with the Snowflake representatives that we had. We looked at the technology. It just jived very well with the idea of having a database technology living on top of clouds. We didn't want to spend too much time on infrastructure, and we had found ourselves spending a lot of time with just setting up servers or setting up all kinds of things. It didn't help us with innovation. It helped us with becoming good technologists and plumbers, if you like. And we are focused on data. We're focused on doing the best possible job for our clients in the marketing space. And that is really what we wanted to spend time on. And so then we started to use Snowflake as a data warehouse, first and foremost. Okay, what can we glean out of our data in a smart way? And then little by little, we started asking ourselves questions of what if we could actually use Snowflake as part of our products. So that's when we really started to look at, can we lift our current platform over to Snowflake? Can we start running very large loads, application loads, data loads in Snowflake? And how would that look like for our clients?
Yeah, that's a great story to see how we both developed together. Like young Snowflake in 2018, 2019, it's helping you manage all this data, but Snowflake has changed a lot. It has improved in so many ways, and you are making the best out of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up, because now I think things have really accelerated on the Snowflake side, which has helped us with accelerating our innovations as well. So looking back a few years when we started bringing these heavy data loads into Snowflake, we created an app that we released on the summit last year. And this was an app basically for identity resolution natively in Snowflake. And it was incredible what we could do with things like Snowpark, with tasks, even with hybrid tables that we brought into our core part of our identity resolution platform. So this basically got us to a place where we could very efficiently run large data loads of hundreds of millions of customer records in parallel for some of the largest clients that you have out there. It was just incredible what we could do at any point in time and do it faster than we had ever done before. And the whole notion of zero data sharing was one of those things that we were just, the way that this has worked in the past is that clients have typically sent us a file over SFTP, those standard good old ways to do things. And in today's scenario, we just have a data share, a secure data share that we bring over to our Snowflake account. And there's just zero time to get the data available to our clients or from our clients over to our Snowflake account. And the other way back, when we've completed our processing of the data, it's right there. There's no complexity and it's fast.
So stop FTPing files around, just have immediate sharing with others.
That's indeed right, yes.
But this is not unrestricted sharing. This is sharing that respects privacy. There's a big problem that you're solving here. Can you explain a little more about that?
One of the most important things in today's world, it's been important for many years. We've been always good custodians of our customers' data and the data, frankly, by all of us, right? We all have important data that we need to protect. What's important these days is that our companies, our clients, they do not want to share their own customer information outside of their own walls. This is bringing us to today's big challenge. How can our clients still process all of their client data without really letting that data leave their own walls? And at the same time, we on the processing side for the products that are doing all this data processing, we have platforms that we need to have the data processed in a fashion that is cost effective, and it's just the way that it's centralized in a traditional manner. So we had to completely change the game. And once again, what we got with Snowflake, actually last year when we had native apps being part of the announcement, is that you could create a native app, install that native app to our clients' accounts. And this basically changed the game with, instead of moving the data to us, we moved our application to the client, which is it was really a game changer on our end. However, there was still a bit of a challenge that we had. We use a third-party specialized software that we have to use. It's also certified by postal systems and things like that. You cannot just bring that natively directly into Snowflake. So one of our questions early on was, what if Snowflake had the ability to also run native software in its platform? And then what if that native platform could be in an app that could be installed on the client side? That brings us to the announcement that we had on the 2024 Snowflake Summit, where we basically announced the ability of a Snowflake-based app where we had a containerized service with our third-party applications and software brought into a native app, which can then run on the client's own Snowflake account.
Wow, I love how you're taking this complex and big and important problem and solving it step by step and using what the new opportunities that Snowflake gives you. And we're going to get into the details of it.
Yes. let's start out then with a little bit of the journey on the technology side, where we got into it. So what you see here on the screen is basically how we went from our current production environment, which has a centralized environment where we run a massive parallel workloads for our clients. So it's a multi-tenant client environment setup, and into the possibility for installing the app into one specific client instance. So this is where you see on the technology side here that we went from first figuring out how to containerize our third-party software, and then bringing that container into Snowpark Container Services. And then from there, okay, how would we then bring that into a native app? And then how do we make it actually productionalized and iterative? So what you can see is...
before we change the slide,
call out... I'm sorry, I'm just going very quickly here.
No, you're going at the perfect speed. But I just wanted to call out that there's this whole other path of data science with ML, with Snowpark ML, with neural networks and Gen AI. We're not going to cover that now, but that's also looks like a fascinating path.
I would be happy to talk about that later on if we get the chance to do so.
Excellent. Let's go into the technology story.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's do that. This is an architectural diagram of how our current production app is set up. So you can see here that the way that the consumers interact with the Merkury recognition engine, which is what the identity recognition engine is called, it's by secure shares. So you can see how names and addresses and other types of information is made available to a client-specific instance on Merkury's own Snowflake account. This then runs through Snowpark, as you can see there, with tasks and streams. And then it uses a warehouse or a set of warehouses specific to that client. And then it also uses an important aspect here is what's called a knowledge base. That's in the middle down here. As you can see, there's a knowledge base. That is the data set that we're having on our end, our graph that contains every individual that is marketable in the United States, and touch points for those individuals. And we also know then data about every individual. So that is what we're using for a reference in terms of, okay, so Felipe comes in, we see that you're living at 123 Main Street, and then we're looking into our database seeing, okay, is Felipe still living at 123 Main Street? Mm-hmm. Or, well, actually, no, he moved over to 568 Pine Street. Okay, so let the client know that you actually moved. So that's part of what we're doing here too. And then what you can see though is that there is a call out to another set of systems in the left lower end where we're using a hygiene solution to clean up the data, etc. that is outside of Snowflake. And that was the hint that I gave earlier on, that we still had one piece of the architecture that we were not happy about. We wanted to bring that into Snowflake as well. And then when we've done that, we push the output data out to the client again. So
and I love that. Already here you have secure data sharing, you are moving data between the consumer account and Merkury, like you are treating them separate, but Snowflake allows you to do so much, but we have this outside system to clean the data.
That's right.
And this is what we want to change.
That is what we wanted to change.
Awesome.
So that's where we went into, okay, with containers, we could actually do this, right? We had the ability to bring in a third-party software that was not running on Snowflake because it's not Snowflake native per se. Mm-hmm. So we had the ability then to install that software that only can run on a standard operating system. Let's see if we can bring that into a Docker container, actually. And then, yeah, we got that to run, and that works great. There are some interesting things when you're bringing in third-party software, things like licensing terms. How do we make sure that we can work with the vendors out there that's not necessarily using the cloud model with, credits or what have you? They are maybe working with CPU-based licensing models. So those are some of the things that are not technically hard to solve, but it's contractually hard to solve, right? So lots of good learnings here that people can use. So then what we did after that was we made sure that we could bring the Docker container into Snowflake. And that was just a game changer. When we got that to run, got the compute pool set up right so that we could run it perfect, right? So that was the next step. And then we went from there to test it out, obviously. This is just a test where you can see how it all works. And then we went into, okay, so we already had a native app out there, and we leveraged that native app and the good practices that we had already understood or already learned with native apps. We then brought the container into a native app. That is the unlock for our clients that want to have the ability to run an end-to-end secure process for identity resolution inside of their own Snowflake account.
Yes, and I like how you're calling the key learnings here is that it's relatively easy to enable native app once the container runs in Snowflake.
It is.
And relatively easy, what's the easy part and what's the hard part?
Well, so it's a new technology.
Yes.
And we felt like, okay, we need to get some help here because we just didn't know exactly how it was going to work and what were some gotchas and things like that. So we got very good help from our Snowflake representatives. We have such a great account team on the Snowflake side that immediately got in touch with the field CTO of both native apps and container services. We all got on a call together and had subsequent calls to figure out all the small tweaks and tunes that you got to do. How, for example, how are you going to be able to report back on the use of compute pools so that we can get charged the appropriate licensing terms and amounts from our partners, right? So those types of things, very, very important. So these are things that you got to think through with the help of our excellent partnership with Snowflake.
Yeah.
This is basically what we got to work. Yeah.
That's awesome, especially because you've been such an early Snowflake adopter.
Yes.
You've seen not only Snowflake grow, you've been part of this. We've developed this together.
Yes.
Yes, and sometimes details like how do you contractually deliver what your providers need out of Snowflake, like compute hours, that's such, not a technical detail, but an important detail to solve this whole problem.
It is. And it's just one of those things, you don't think about it from the get-go, right? That we got to figure out how this all works. But there are so many small details, so many contractual obligations that we have on our side that we got to figure out how to work together. And those are, it's a technology problem, but it's also a business problem. And that's where I see that the partnership, which is really what it is between Snowflake and Merkle, Dentsu, the partnership that we have is so important for us. We innovate together. We figure out solutions, I should say, together. The problems, we always get into the problems, but the solutions, we figure them out together and we iterate over them and we constantly innovate together. And I really like that. So there's a great feedback loop from you to us and for us as customers coming back to you so that you can continue with this innovation acceleration on Snowflake, which I really, really love.
Yeah, I love it too, because this is not only benefiting and solving the Merkle problem, it's also helping all of your customers, and it's a network that we are growing together and solving problems and letting people focus on what they want to focus.
Yes, exactly.
Great. I love how we are innovating together and delivering a solution to the whole data cloud. It's not only Merkle, it's not only Snowflake, it's your customers, it's everyone else, and we keep delivering better things so people can focus on what they want.
Yep.
Now, during your presentation at Summit, you also went deep into the data science side and how that's changing. Can you give us a quick summary of it for people that want to watch more?
Yes, our data scientists, they were in a very interesting scenario where they used a lot of different tools on different clouds. They had Jupyter notebooks, etc. And they had much of their machine learning algorithms outside on EC2 instances, etc. So what we saw now with the new announcements from Snowflake was that you could run those ML models directly in Snowflake in a very easy way. and you could use Snowflake notebooks on top of this data, which was perfect. And they had the opportunity to then share notebooks. They could easily create Streamlit apps to demo what they were looking into and show for other people within data science. So this is now the next frontier for our data science people. So then the next piece that I went into with our data scientists was, what if we could also bring in some AI into some generative AI, for example, test that out within Snowflake. So that is now the next part that they're looking into. And I'm excited to say that we're innovating extremely quickly on that end too. And I believe that's going to make it into our products portfolio too.
Yes, I love how much of this innovation path start with the question, what if?
Yes.
We have this, what if we can make it simpler? What if we can make it faster? What if we can consolidate? And you're getting great answers.
That is indeed what we're always asking ourselves. How can we make this easier? What if we do it this way? What would our customers like to see? And how can Snowflake help us with these things? And that's again, our perfect partnership that we're just making sure is helping our end clients, helping each and every consumer out there to just do things in a very, very private, secure way so that we can innovate on the data, but at the same time keeping the data from you and from me safe and secure.
Privacy and security, that's so important.
Always.
And if you had to picture the future, what do you see in the future? How are things going to change?
So I see the world of AI changing a lot of the things that we do. I see AI with generative AI and autonomous agents, for example, the way that agents can interact with each other's and solve each other's problems and resonate over problems and resolve. I think that's the next frontier that we're looking into now, and that's definitely on our agenda in the research lab.
Well, I can't wait to see where all these what ifs bring us in the future. And that will be a great conversation. But for now, where should people go to learn more?
They can go to merkury.dentsu.com, or they can also find me on LinkedIn. So just search me up on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
On LinkedIn as Morten Lileng?
That's correct, Morten Lileng.
And merkury.dentsu.com.
Correct.
Thank you so much for this conversation, and thank you everyone for watching. For more Snowflake developer content, go to developers.snowflake.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.